because it is in our story where we truly find that in our DNA, that same DNA that flowed through our ancestors is here today. And that trail of tears, that forced removal, is where we find that resilience so many times.
And so as you think about your journey, about where you have been personally, not only your ancestors, not only your great-grandparents, but where you have been. And we are in the midst of a revitalization right now that is so exciting. The Trail of Tears has some very meaningful stories, but each one of you has stories.
We must amplify our historical perspective and not allow a modern removal. Sovereignty and self-determination are too valuable for future generations. However, this will require not only the strength of our tribal leaders, it will require the strength of our people.
And we know the battles and we know the scars that our ancestors felt because we feel those. And when we peel these layers back, we can find that healing. And our country, our tribes are undergoing a time of healing continuously. But today, we understand that there's so much that is out there for each of us to grasp and to take hold. And it is organizations like this that are going to be paramount to what our youth see tomorrow, so that they can have a future and pass these stories and these things along in the most relevant and the most righteous way each and every day.
We wouldn't be gathering here knowing that we've got a great Cherokee democracy. We wouldn't be here, and I couldn't be here as a chief of a nation, because our nation might not exist. But it does exist. The Cherokee people are still here. We're stronger than ever, and part of our strength is we've got great friends in the National Trail of Tears Association. Thank you all very much for your friendship and your work.
Good afternoon, welcome. Saboth Chifo Jason. Chukma Moma Ishalaka. Good that you're all here. Hachi Pasilicate Asayopa. Glad to see all of you. We are going to get started. Being here at the that's a loud mic. Being here at the Trail of Tears conference, I wanted to touch on the 5 civilized tribes. So, back home in the Muskogee, the Shimonole, man, where'd Jake go? He's a busy man like me. I think he had to leave. I was hoping he's saying his farewells over there. But back home, when we have our stomp dance, and some of you are familiar with stomp dance, we open, the first song we will always sing is called the Inkana Taloa, Inkana Hithla, friendship song, friendship dance. And one good thing about speaking to people, I love honoring the great people that I've met. And I want to go back to 1992, as it was told to me, Chickasaw Nation, our songs were asleep. They needed to be reawakened. And we needed help to do that. And so our great esteemed leader, Governor Anoatabi, he went to Nutney Oktani, Hofchifo Farron Cully, a great man named Farron Cully. And he told Farron, Ishapila Obana, we need your help, Farron. Farron, Creek man, he's a Creek man. He worked in our maintenance department. He was over our maintenance department. But he belonged to ceremonial ground, I'll say Creek Nation. Okfusk, I believe, was the name of his tribal town. But Governor says, Farron, we need your help. So Farron goes to his ceremonial grounds chief. He's got to have approval to do such things. But his ceremonial grounds chief, he gave approval for Farron to help us out. Now, this is 30 years ago. And here we are 30 years later, Chickasaw Nation Dance Troupe. We are goodwill ambassadors on behalf of Chickasaw Nation wherever we're invited. So, and my point to that, one man said yes. And that's a life lesson to me. This one man said yes, and now look where we are 30 years later. And again, a life lesson. And we're going to Okasatiwi, open the door, as we say. And Farron, he explained the meaning of this friendship song to me. He kind of took me under his wing. He made this coconut shell rattle for me too. And anyway, unfortunately, cancer got this great man, Lashomatuk. That's a respectful way of saying that he's passed away. And I may say that too often while I'm talking to you, Lashomatuk. But Farron, he explained the meaning of this song, the friendship song. And he said, Jason, when we get to adulthood, we all have responsibility, we all have obligations in this life. None of us are separated from that. But he says, when we open the door, Okasatiwi, whatever's going on in your life, whatever circumstances may be going on in your life, it's not welcome here. When we open this door, you leave everything outside the door. This is a time of giving thanks, a time of celebration. And Farron went on to tell me, he said, Jason, when the dance is over, you feel free to pick up whatever circumstance, whatever weight you may be carrying in your life. But right here, right now, it's not welcome here. And I cling to that story all my days. Anytime that I get to sing our songs, whatever's in my life, it don't matter. It don't matter, and I invite you to do the same thing. It's called life. We all got something going on, but it's not welcome here, okay? And 40 minutes or however long, you feel free to pick up whatever circumstances are in your life. But right here, not welcome, and we are going to open the door with the friendship song. I don't think I need this microphone. I'm naturally loud.
Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh,
And that is how we open the door. Now, I recruited some men, didn't I? I recruited you. Hasnofonka, y'all remember. Mentees would say, come on up here, come on, come on. We're sharing our cultures today. This is my stomp dance song, and we did this back in Kentucky. All right, y'all's gonna come up and help me. I was gonna come to y'all, but yeah, come on up here. This Creek man right here, Brick. He knew what I was talking about. Oh, he's Creek man, that's why he knows. I call the Creek people the grandfathers of stomp dance. The Creek people are the grandfather, and the Seminole as well. Let me quit talking then. Let's give these volunteers a big hand clap. I told them we was going to have about a 25-second rehearsal. Yeah, let's make it fun. Okay. Y'all back up? Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Not back up, no. Picture that someone's on the run, then you know you're running. Well, you can go down the side.
I like to be off around. Y'all don't pass me around.
Okay, yeah.
We are spiritual praying people, and this is glorifying Jehovah, God. So, y'all's job. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. This is me. Hallelujah, holy. Hallelujah, holy. All right? Holy. You want to hold that? Well, we're a group up here. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly translate most of this song. Again, we're spiritual praying people. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Thank you for giving us this day. We praise you always. We glorify you always. He shall strengthen thine heart. Lord, you are peace. Lord, you are my strength. Lord, you are my light. Lord, you are my everything. You understand understand everything. God, you see everything. God, you know everything. God, you love us very much. All praise to God. Watch over us. So that's what we're going to sing. I'm running out of hands, isn't it? Let's see. Yeah, that mic's pretty sensitive anyway. Okay, so we're going to share some stomp dance. Some of you are familiar with stomp dance, some of you aren't, but this is another form of worshiping our God. Halle, ho, ho, halle, 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 now testing away. Halle, ho, halle, Poinki haba hispani lema holeni. Die hoogte voor holy tofa holeni. Isha pila tika halaski holeni. Nana hisa yaneka yamu maski holeni. Yaku ke himaka hispomaka holeni. Yaku ke himaka hispomaka holeni. Lichi holy tobleti bilia holeni. Lichi ayopati bilia holeni. Chichonkisha chikilipichachi holeni. Chiho is nako nana yachia holeni. Chiho rankulimpichia holeni. Chiho nana momachia holeni. Chihoran shupalachia holeni. Chihoran momachia holeni. Halle ho haleni holeni. Halle ho haleni holeni. Halle ho haleni holeni. Nanu mo ma hishu kosunichi holeni. Chihoa nanu mo ma hispisa holeni. Chihoa nanu mo ma hisisana holeni. Chihoris poholo kanika holeni. Chihoet holy tobli mo mahilima holeni. Ispo pisa hanchaski holeni. Halle ho haleni holeni.
Halle ho, halle ni. Halle ho, halle ni. Halle ho, halle
Y'all feel that? Y'all feel that? Thank you. Okay, and that is stomp dance. Now imagine you got 50 men, 50 women shaking them shells. It's beautiful. Sound like a train's coming. You hear all them women shaking them shells. So anyway, glad to share a little stomp dance with y'all. I want to talk a little bit about our removal. We were removed 1837. And again, it was hard, you know, and being here, it's good to be with people of a like mind, of a same heart. And we are the 5 civilized tribes, but every tribe has their story. Every tribe has their story. So we're removed in 1837. And again, not much easy about it. And we have Miss LaDonna Brown is somewhere. She's going to give a presentation in a little while. But we were at language conference. This is when I was in language department with the elders. Language conference here at Tahlequah. And we went to sing Choctaw hymns. We'll do a few of those in a little while. But after we were done singing our hymns, LaDonna's mother, Pauline Brown, LaShoma took. She's passed away also. I don't, you know, I'm saying that too often, but she's looking down on us. I believe that. But after we got through singing Choctaw hymns, she stood up and spoke a few words. And the trail removal has always been an interest of mine. And, you know, today you can get on the internet. There's a wealth of information about Cherokee removal, Choctaw removal, Chickasaw. But my interest was personal experience. I wanted to know about personal experience. And those are not so easy to come by. So anyway, Miss Pauline Brown, she got up to speak a few words, and her grandfather was on the removal. And she asked him, and whenever I was researching about removal, a common reply if son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, they became of age and they wanted to know about the removal, a common reply, they would be met with no reply, silence. Why? Because it was just too hard. It was just too painful to talk about. And Miss Pauline Brown, her grandfather on the removal, and she becomes of age and she wants to know what happened. And she was met with similar reply. But he did tell her, those people were very mean to us. And, you know, I don't know anything else but to share my heart, okay? And I'll probably go to the grave. But that frustrates me. Tribe after tribe after tribe after tribe after tribe after tribe. They're home. They're in their homeland. Their grandfather's bones and their grandfather's bones and their grandfather's bones are at that home, but yet they being removed. And I just can't get over that. I can't get over that. But I wanted to share that with you. LaDonna's great-grandfather, well, he said a similar thing. They were very mean to us. Very mean to us. So that's a little bit about our removal. We're here in Chelaki-Iyagni, Cherokee Nation. In researching about our removal, I ran across this Cherokee war chief named Junaluska. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Junaluska. The War of 1812. the War of Horseshoe Bend. It would eventually become known as the Creek Massacre. And Andrew Jackson asked this Cherokee war chief, Junaluska, for some of his warriors. Junaluska gave 800 of his Cherokee warriors to Andrew Jackson for the battle at Horseshoe Bend. So, the time comes. Cherokee Nation needs help. This Cherokee war chief, he goes to Andrew Jackson. Junaluska goes to him, needing help. Andrew Jackson had told him, when the sun, as long as the sun shines and the grass grows, there will be friendship between us. So now the moment comes, Cherokee Nation needs help. They go to Andrew Jackson. He tells Junaluska, sir, your audience is ended. There is nothing I can do for you. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Every tribe has their story, but I wanted to touch on all the 5 tribes today. This war chief Junaluska right here, it says, he saw his people being removed and cried. And he looked to the sky saying, oh my God, if I had known at the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, American history would have been differently written. Between 800, 1300 Creek died in that so-called war. It was no war. It was a massacre as it became known. And, it's been mentioned, this manifest destiny. And the white settlers, they were in favor of Indian extermination. Exterminate those savages. Savages. So just sharing, that's a little bit about the Cherokee removal. Junaluska, he was regretful having ever helped Andrew Jackson. We talked about Miss Pauline Brown, our Chickasaw removal. I work at Chickasaw Cultural Center, and we're fortunate, privileged to have an elder there. His name is Hub Alexander. And I enjoy the conversations I have with Hub. He's kind of taken me under his wing also. But he has a childhood memory. Back home, we have a Chickasaw community called Cullahoma. It's where our dance ground is. But that's where Hub was raised. And he shared with me a memory one time. He was at church, on the church grounds, and the adults, they're on the church grounds. They're not in the church. They're out on the grounds. And Hub said, Jason, they were on their hands and knees, and they were praying, and they were crying. Hub, why are they praying? Why are they crying? He said, Jason, they was praying, they was crying for you, for our people, that we may never forget who we are. And I cherish this memory long time ago, and it ain't never stopped as far as I know. We've always been praying people. But those prayers spoken on behalf of my tribe, spoken on behalf of your tribe, they're being answered, aren't they? Being answered. Being answered. So I wanted to share that story about our elders. I was in language for 4 years, and that's where I got to spend a lot of time with our elders, and I cherish those times. Let me see here. We are going to move right along to some Choctaw hymns, okay? Now, we had a paper shortage back home Tuesday. Will you help me pass some of these out? Thank you so much. I only made like 65, 70 copies, so we're going to come up short. But I wanted to share with you some of these Choctaw hymns. Some of the elders I worked with in the language department, Stanley Smith, Jerry Ematachi, Luther John, and they're the ones that taught me these Choctaw hymns. And Mr. Stanley Smith, he told me a long time ago, he said, Jason, always be proud of our language. Be proud of your language. And he also went on to say, he said, Jason, our Chickasaw people, we sing these hymns. He said, but there's not many that understand what they're singing. So, to honor Stanley, I want to translate this 116. This is his favorite Choctaw hymn. That's why I have it here. But quickly, we'll sing a couple of verses to it, but it says, I'm not supposed to live forever. Let me live. And look at the words. Look at the words to this song, okay? This is a sad song. And I deduced, this is a removal song. 112 we know is a removal song. 116, right by it. I'm not supposed to live forever. Let me live, I don't say. The clouds become ugly and its path becomes dark and destroys. I'm not supposed to live forever. The sun rises but not to others. Many people do not have dawns. Sorrow covers over. I am getting ready to go. This is not my home to dwell in this terrible place. I do not want. Suffering is plenty. I will go and see Jesus. To live eternally above, I seek. This earth's grave I wait for, just like Christ's death and grave. So this is translation to this song, Choctaw Hymn 116. And I'll sing the first two verses to honor Mr. Stanley Smith. And again, Stanley Smith, man of God. I mentioned three men. Luther John, man of God. Jerry Imatachi, man of God. These men. And but Stanley Lashoma he's looking down. Anta Bilia La Chihato Kiyo Akan Taka Choshki Ho Shontika Ayuk Puloko Hanchata Tayaya Ayuk Flilichit Okpani Finashki Anta Bilia La Chihatok Kiyo Hashi Akocha Kiaik Kochoka Omi Kakoshla Wanuka Glokakosh Apak Nafina Ayala Chihoki. So that's two verses to Choctaw Hymn 116, Stanley Smith's favorite. So again, I love honoring the men who have made an impression in my life. How many Choctaws are here with us? More? Oh, I done tried to recruit that Choctaw over there. He hard-headed like me. And okay, well, those of you familiar with Choctaw Hymns 48, that's the old Stand By, the most common Choctaw hymn that we sing. And it's sang to a variety of tunes, but most common we sing it to Amazing Grace. So what we'll do, I will sing two verses in our language, and then we'll go to Naholo Imanopa English. And we'll sing the last third verse, the first verse of Amazing Grace. All right? All right. Here we go. Shilom Bisho Litoba Atokilba Shapia Ishpi Yupalashki Pichonkashno Siaturma Antish Okcha Rashki Ishpi Yobi Ichik Bano Ichim Aya Nishki. English. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Talk to the Chukma, good job. I've got my Choctaw hymn here with me, and I want to read some words from it. It says, there are many examples of men whom God raised up for specific jobs. For example, Joseph Dukes contributed to the translation of the Choctaw Bible and in preparing the scriptures for publication. Israel Folsom was a businessman, hymn writer, and spokesman for the tribe during treaty negotiations following the Civil War. Jonathan E. Dwight, a graduate of Yale College, was a hymn writer and educator known for his moral character and studious habits. The language work done among the churches in the early days is reflected in their church minutes, religious literature, catechisms, hymns, teaching aids, dictionary, definers, lexicons, and the scriptures. The Lord used the missionaries and the Christian Choctaws to give us written material for the use of teaching the gospel. This resulted in the preservation of the Choctaw language, which is still used today. The effects of Christianity and the education that came with it laid the foundation for the tribe's future, but the progress accomplished in the Choctaw Awakening would soon be put to the test. Though unknown to the Choctaws at the time, the federal government of the United States was already making plans to remove them from their homeland in order to open up land for white settlers. In 1820, the Treaty of Doak Stand had been made with the Choctaws, and tribal land was ceded with the promise of a new homeland in what is now Arkansas. Then, in March 1829, Andrew Jackson became president, and he was pressured to open up Indian lands for white settlers. In December of that year, Congress passed the Indian Removal Act. Negotiators came to Dancing Rabbit Creek in Mississippi, producing a treaty that removed the Choctaws to the newly formed Indian Territory in what is now southeast Oklahoma. The Choctaws were the first tribe to be removed from their ancient homeland. In the fall of 1831, the first group of Choctaw left for Indian Territory on a 500-mile exodus known as the Trail of Tears. Missionary Loren Williams said in the Choctaw language what their thought was. I do not despise the gospel or disbelieve your word. They Christian people. They have the peace that passes all understanding. But yet here in this moment, I do not despise the gospel or disbelieve your word, but I am distressed with the loss of my beloved country and have my mind so full of anxiety on this subject that I have no room for any other thought. I can neither sing nor pray, and why should I pretend to do so when my heart is not in it? And I wanted to share that from the Choctaw hymnal. I'm going to move on. I think we've touched on every tribe except the Seminole. And when Jake was up here, the Seminole man, I think he said 1753, they became known as the Seminole. Well, I had wondered in my Chickasaw language, why do we call them Seminole? Well, there, 1753, Jason. They were known as the Seminole. So, I want to share we call this the Hatakapima Ascola, the Native American flute. There's more than a few origin stories of how the flute came to us, but this story comes from our Seminole brothers and sisters. Nukneoktani Hothchipoat Woodrow Haney, great man named Woodrow Haney, the father of the Senator Enoch Kelly Haney. So, very talented family. We know the warrior on the state capitol building, that is the work of the senator. You come to the Chickasaw Cultural Center just as soon as you come on the grounds. We have a warrior on the grounds. That's the work of the senator also. So very talented family. And the way this story goes, that Mr. Woodrow told us a long time ago, Nutni Sapotni Cha Iho Sapotni Itihalili Tuk Athjaba. There was an old man, old woman. They had been married very long time. Micha Nitak Chafa Nukni Sapotni Imilhoat Lashomatuk. And then one day, the old man's wife passes away. The one he could freely tell all things to. And Kana and Maya, his best friend, Micha Himakosa Ayatuk, and now she's gone. Nukni Sapotni Nakonglo Kanika Chunkashat Wiki. The old man, obviously very sad, his heart heavy. So he goes down to the riverbank to mourn his loss, to commune. We call him Chihoama in our language. So he sits down on the riverbank beneath a cedar tree. And again, Nakonglo Kanika, very sad. So sad he thought of just walking into the river to be with his wife, to be in the next life with his wife. Ogia Chipota Ipo Kipokisto Anokvilituk. But he thought of his children, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. And he knew there was still responsibility, obligation here in this life. So he's sitting under this cedar tree, and a bakbak, a woodpecker, comes to rest in the cedar tree and begins pecking holes in the cedar branch limb. And every time the bakbak would peck a hole, Jehoama Mali Imatuk, God sent a wind, and music was being created. The woodpecker continued to peck, and eventually the cedar branch limb, it came to rest in the old man's hands. Jehoama Nugni Sapotni Chunkashat Anopolituk. God spoke to the old man's heart, and he says, you take this back to your people. It will occupy you until it's time for you to go join your loved ones in the next life. And I've been playing this going on 10 years, I guess, and it's a true story. True story. This instrument, it will occupy you. If I need a measure of peace in my heart, I'll pick my flute up, try to play some good music. This is a new flute, by the way, and flutes are like a relationship. You got to get to know one another, okay? So we're 3 months down the road, so I think we're far enough down the road that she'll give us some good flute music. So, All right, one more, okay? Hatakapima Poyaka Alashakatima. We are Indian people, and we are still here.